Go. Eastern Conference rivals will meet up in South Beach. This is Across the Board with Jeff Grant here at SBRforum.com. Got a good one here with the Atlanta Hawks versus the Miami Heat at American Airlines Arena, meeting for the fourth time during the 2012-13 NBA campaign. The Heat opened up as 10-point home favorites. That number has been knocked down to 9.5 in some spots in the market, while the total sits between 196.5 and 197. Monitor any future odds movement by going to SBRodds.com. When you look at the Atlanta Hawks, 1-5 straight up their last 6 games, coming off a 93-80 setback against the Brooklyn Nets as 3.5-point home favorites last Saturday night. They are tied for 6th currently in the Eastern Conference standings, 1.5 games up on the Milwaukee Bucks for the 8th spot in the Eastern Conference, so they could threaten to possibly land a matchup against the #1 seed, which is presumably going to be the Miami Heat when things get going in the playoffs. So they definitely want to avoid landing in the 8th spot. But all 8 teams are comfortably ahead of the Toronto Raptors, who are 8.5 games back below those 8 teams. 0-3 straight up and against the spread in the first 3 meetings against the Heat this season, with all 3 of those games going under the total. They've only averaged 90.3 points per game in those contests, but they've done their best work in the first half, something that I really handicapped when looking at this game, and they've covered the first 24 minutes against the Heat in all 3 contests, and the road team is 9-1 against the spread in the last 10 meetings in the series. When you look at Miami, they are really the talk of the entire league. 18-game winning streak. They've already clinched a spot in the 2013 NBA playoffs, and they are 9 games ahead of the New York Knicks and Indiana Pacers for the #1 spot in the Eastern Conference playoffs. So once they kind of wrap that up, I expect this team to be overvalued in the market. It'll be very difficult to put a number on this team for NBA odds makers. LeBron James really is going to win another MVP this season. He's averaged 27.2 points, 7.7 rebounds, and 7.4 assists during the Heat's current 18-game run. They've also won 14 consecutive games on this home floor, 87-19 since LeBron James and Chris Bosh joined Dwayne Wade in South Beach. That is the 2nd best mark in the NBA for any team on its home floor. San Antonio Spurs 90-14 in that situation. 7-1 straight up, 3-5 against the spread as home favorites of 9.5 to 12 points this season. And this has not been a good situational role for this team against the spread since James and Bosh joined Wade. 12-19 against the spread the last 2+ seasons. Atlanta could tip off as a double-digit underdog for the first time this year. I always like playing teams that are landing in their first situation for a particular year, especially from a value standpoint. And like I said, they've been very good in the first half. So my official pick is going to be the Atlanta Hawks first half in this game. The line should come out about 5.5. That's what I wrote down on SBRforum.com. You can check out the article that I wrote on this contest. But my official pick, the Atlanta Hawks first half against the Miami Heat on Tuesday night. This has been another edition of Across the Board with Jeff Grant here at SBRforum.com, and follow me on Twitter at Jeff Grant Sports for any further information on this game or any other on an action-packed Tuesday night NBA board. Cut.